Welcome back to another Q&A series. You are watching my drawing shelf. Here where are balls and all sorts of different turnings, blanks. I have a question from Jacob. How do you deal with drying woods that are prone to cracking, like white oak or apple, once you have rough turned them? This small stack here is plum, and this is plum here. With apple I don't have problems at all, at least at this log that I've got this year, but the plum is terrible. This stack here is unusable, so these cracked too severely. You can see one down, try to focus down there, this big one here, this one as well. So these won't be turned, these will be burned when the winter comes. How do I deal with them? So usually you want to slow down the process of drying, so that means either coat them in wood glue or any other sealer that you are using, and that usually helps. And keep them now, bear in mind, if you hear a buzzing sound, it's a fly that can't seem to hit the door of the shop and go outside, so it's stuck here in the shop with me. So I was talking, you want to slow down the drying process. Now these were coated, but nevertheless the plum is actually quite prone to cracking. With cherry, which I have the most this year, only a few of them cracked, and the reason for it is the log is actually quite dry out as it is, and once I got it and once I processed it, it didn't seep out moisture. It was wet, but it didn't like dripping wet, so that helps also. Other thing that I do is, this is elm here, down on the ground. Now bear in mind, it's quite, try to zoom in here, so it's 18 degrees and 68% moisture in the shop, so not ideal for drying your balls. So I process this elm, like 20 of them. I stack them close to the most humid place in my shop. This is the retaining wall. All this wall is actually retaining wall between the house, which is this wall here, and this retaining wall. And I keep it low to the ground, where it's much less windy, and just keep them there like that, and I coat them with, I have some leftover paint, and use that to get rid of it, to slow down the drying process. Now I expect some of them to maybe crack or something, and I'll watch over them, and if I see any cracks, I'll just turn them immediately as quickly as I can. That's how I deal with the cracks actually. Sometimes you just can't prevent that, and you just have to live with it. And like I said, you can either finish turn them wet, thin, or you can rough turn them like this. And just be aware that if you see any cracking start to develop, like I did on those 4 pair balls I did a video on, you just turn them immediately, finish them, and it will warp slightly and do that kind of stuff, but at least you'll be able to save your balls. And most of these 98% are quite solid and no cracking. I did go check on these a couple of days ago, so they're all fine. They are 435 plus these 20, so 455. My goal was to, by the end of the winter, to be around 500 pieces, but didn't manage to do it, and got no time. And the other question is, do you seal your ball blanks after rough turning, and if so, with what? That question was asked by Mr. Taco. I do. I use 90% of the time the white glue, and I usually thin it down with 10% water, something like that. It doesn't have to be exact measurement, and that works out quite nice. And I do all rough turning balls usually in the winter. If I get some nice log, I'll do it in the summer, but then you can expect to get more cracking and splitting. So you can use either old paint or stuff like that, but like I said, on these elm balls I used, and on some of these, their turning blanks, spindle blanks, I used also white paint, which I have left over. So here's a few of the elm shavings in a bag waiting to be collected, and scrap wood waiting for the winter, so they need to go outside. So this is a short video, and go ahead, ask questions, and thank you all for watching, and see you in the next week Q&A.